So fraction is just a symbolic way of writing a quotient, which is the result of dividing two numbers. That's all that a fraction is. For example, 1/2, we could also represent it as, and by the way, this is also called a rational number. A rational number is any number that can be written in the form p over q, where p and q are integers. Let's go ahead and talk about the decimal form of a rational number, such as 9/25. So if I'm taking 9, I'm dividing it by 25. Let's go ahead and kind of remind you how we did that. Well, 25 doesn't go into 9. 25 is bigger than 9, so I'm going to put a 0.0, and I'm going to imagine that how many times does 25 go into 90? So I'm going to go 3 times. 3 times 25 gives me 75. Then I'm going to subtract that. So 5, 8 minus 15. Well, and then we're going to go ahead and bring down a 0 here. 25 is bigger than 15, obviously. So 25 into 150 goes how many times? I go 6 times 25 gives me 150 exactly. So I have no remainder here. That's nice. And then I take this decimal straight up. All right, and that's how you can convert this 9/25 into a decimal. All right, why don't you guys go ahead and try this one, 8/20. So I have trouble here on this. Sorry, guys. There we go. Sorry about that. Finished out writing that as a decimal. I think I missed recording those, but all right, in the chat there, who's got 36 out of 42? If you factor 36, what are factors of 36? Nancy says 6/7. Good. So you could write 6 and 6, 6 and 7. Good. This ends up being 6/7. Excellent. That's our 36/42. Now let's write a decimal as a fraction or a mixed number in lowest term. So we got 0.24. So I'm going to go ahead and read that. This is the tenths position. That right there is the hundredths position, right? So 0.24 would be 24/100ths. And I noticed both of those go into 2, so I could do 12/50. Both of those go into 2, so it'd be 6/25. Looks like we're stuck right there. Another way to do that is that's 4 times 6. That's 4 times 25. 4's cancel. You're left with 6/25. All right, so how about 0.35? What would 0.35? You guys can go ahead and put that in the chat there. She's perfectly correct on that. That's 35/100ths. I'm going to write that as 5 times 7, 5 times 20, which is 7/20ths. Lowest terms. All right, let's go ahead and round now. So let's round to the nearest hundredth. The 1 is in the 10th position. The 5 is in the hundredths. The 8 is in the thousandths. So we're rounding to that 5 position right there. So I look at the number to the right. If the number to the right of the 5 is 5 or bigger, then we go ahead and round it up. 0.16, right? So we rounded it to the nearest hundredth. This one we're going to round to the nearest thousandth. So 10th is the 1 position, hundredth is the 3, thousandth is the 3rd one. Now I look to the right. If the number is 5 or bigger, I bump it up. It is not, it's a 4. So we just round it. We leave it at 0.136, right? All right, you guys go ahead and you can punch that into the chat. Go ahead and do the first one to the 10th position, and the next one to the 100th position. So nearest 10th, look at to the right of the 3, and it's not 5 or bigger, so it stays there. This one's to the 100th. The 3's in the 100th. Look at the 5. It's 5 or bigger, so we bump it up. Awesome. All right, how about a percent into a decimal? Like, for example, 5%. Percent means per hundred. Percent per hundred. In other words, 5% means 5 per 100. In other words, 0.05. 5 100ths is 0.05. So if you have a percent going to a decimal, right, like 5% going to a decimal, then you're just going to move it left to decimals right here, move it left to. So that's 0.05. So 16.7%, again, that's per 100, right? It's like 16.7 per 100. So it'll just move it left to 0.167. 8.375. 8.375%. Again, move it left to 0.08375 as a decimal. All right, so 9.6%. Go ahead and put that into a decimal. You can punch it into the chat. That'd be great. So how about a little application? A salesperson sold $789 worth of goods and earned a rate of commission as 6%. What was the commission? Well, what's 789? What's 6% of that? 0.06, right? Times 0.06. So we go 789 times 0.06, and you get 47.34 as their commission because they get 6% of. Right, 6% of $789. Of means multiply. 0.06 times 789. All right. When you're multiplying two fractions, right, A over B times C over D, you're going to multiply the numerators, multiply the denominators, and then make sure that you simplify that. So here you have 2 times 4, I got 8. 3 times 5, I got 15. Nothing can be reduced on that. And so we're stuck right there when we're multiplying. Let's go ahead and multiply these two. 1 times 2 is 2. 4 times 3 is 12. I look at that and I say, well, can I simplify that? Sure. I got 1/6, right? They both go into 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 12 divided by 2 is 6. Right? Here I got 33 over 49. And, you know, when I'm multiplying this, instead of multiplying it, I'm going to go ahead and put them all. Here are all my numerators. 49, 45, 22. Here's all my denominators. And then I'm going to look at the 14 and the 49, and I'm like, hey, 14 and 49 both go into 7. So that's a 2, 2. That's a 7. All right. 27 and 45, those both go into 9. 27 divided by 9 is 3. 45 divided by 9 is 5. I'm looking at 33 and 22. Those go into 11. 33 divided by 11 is 3. 22 divided by 11 is 2. So now I've got 3 times 2 times 3 over 7 times 5 times 2. Well, 2 over 2 cancels. That's 1. So it looks like I'm left with 9 over 35. And we're stuck right there with that one. All right, why don't you guys go ahead and try this one. I'm going to put it on the Jamboard. Awesome, good work. You guys should get 4 over 33. You work that out. All right, how about dividing fractions? Dividing fractions. So when you take 5/8 divided by 3/4, I'm going to do it this vertical way first, and then I'll show you the horizontal way as well. What you're trying to do is you're trying to simplify that 3/4. Remember, like 7 over 1 is just 7, right? So if we can get this 3/4 to be a 1, that's what our goal is. So what we're going to do is we're going to multiply by the reciprocal of 4/3. But if I do it to the bottom, I got to do it to the top, because 4/3 over 4/3 is 1. Right? So what happens here is I have here I have 12 over 12, which is just a 1. Right? That's what happens here. I just get a 1 right there. And so then what I'm doing is it's 5/8 times the reciprocal 3/4, which is times 4/3, right? So we end up with 20 over 24 over 1. So we'll just end up with 20 over 24, or 10 over 12, or 5 over 6. Right? In other words, when you're dividing fractions, 5/8 divided by 3/4, what you do is you keep, change, and then you flip, right? That's what happens. 5/8 times 4/3, right? You end up with keeping the first one, changing the division to a multiply, and flipping the 3/4. And so that's what you're doing on these. I like to do them vertical, so 15 divided by 2/3. Again, multiply by the reciprocal, top and bottom. So you got 6 over 6, or 1 on the bottom. On the top, we got 15 times 3. 45 over 1 times 2 is 2. So 45 halves is what we've got there. Now let's have you guys go ahead and try 7/12 divided by 14/3. You should get 1/8 on this. So 7/12 divided by 14/3. And you've got 7/12 times 3, 14. Notice the 7 over 14, that gives you 1/2. 3 over 12 gives you 1/4. So you get 1/8. 1 times 1 is 1. 4 times 2 is 8. Awesome. Thanks, you guys. Okay, adding and subtracting fractions. Now, when you're adding and subtracting fractions, you got to have a common denominator to do that. So I'm looking at 3/4 and 3/8. I'm looking at the 4, and I'm like, I got to turn that into an 8. All right, least common multiple of 4 and 8 is 8. So I got to multiply this by 2. 2 times 4 to give me 8. Well, if I do it to the bottom, I got to do it to the top. So I have 6/8 plus 3/8, which is 6 plus 3 all over 8, which is 9/8. All right, same thing for subtraction. Get a common denominator. So we have 5, 6 minus 1, 8. All right, and I say, well, what's the least common multiple of 6 and 8? Right. In other words, if I was to 6 times 1 is 6, 6 times 2 is 12, 6 times 3 is 18. List all these multiples, right? 36, 42, 48, and so on, right? If I list the multiples of 8, oh gosh, what was I doing that? 32, come on. 40, and so on, and I say, oh, 24 is my least common multiple of 6 and 8. So I'm going to go ahead and multiply 6 times 4, bottom and top. So I'll have 20 over 24 is the same thing as 5, 6, minus, and then 8 times 3 is 24. So 3 24ths is the same as 1/8. So now I can do it. So this becomes 20 minus 3 all over 24, or 17 over 24. All right. So now we got 3 here. So 1/10 plus 5/8 minus 1/4. Let's see, 40 would be our least common multiple of 10, 8, and 4. So 1/10 plus 5/8 minus 1/4. So 40. So times 4 times 5 times 10. So it looks like I got 4 40ths plus 25 40ths minus 10 40ths. So 4 plus 25 is 29. 29 minus 10 is 19 all over 40. All right. Have you guys try this one? Go ahead and check your work on this last one, you guys. And thanks for watching. See you next time.